Yeah, like it's been great. Just I've been doing a lot of my own healing work, but I noticed that as you do more healing work, as the time goes on, you just like start attracting like so many new people and different frequencies, and like you raise your vibe and that's what you attract. It's been really cool. It's been an awesome journey to kind of like even just be playing with energy. Like it's been amazing. So yeah,
That's so
it's been
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, and I've loved watching your transition of being in a job that you really didn't like, and then talking about how do I get out of this job and how do I start my own business, and doing that all from scratch is scary, but you've achieved so much, and it's really, really cool to see you in that space where you are literally glowing and looking amazing.
Oh, thank you.
But you weren't always in this space, were you? So talk to me about, back when we first kind of, I suppose, when you first came across my work, and then when you signed up for my course, and how that whole process went for you.
Yeah, so it was a long while ago. I was just Googling for someone to help me. I knew I needed some kind of help. I had cut ties with my mum at 17 years old. I just got out of a really toxic relationship, and yeah, I just knew I needed help, but I didn't know what I needed. And yeah, like I reached out to you, and yeah, like I was going through a really difficult time, really anxious, really feeling like really depressed and really in a not a good place. And yeah, like I just didn't really know where I was going in my life, what I was doing. As you said, I was in a job that I hated, financial debt up to the eyeballs, so I had to be in a job I hated at that point. And yeah, like I remember reaching out to you, and we did some Reiki sessions, and then I saw that you were advertising Reiki 1, and I was like, yes, like I feel so pulled to this. I really want to experience more of this. And I signed up with you, and yeah, like the rest is history. But yeah, like I just went from such a really tough time in my life to yeah, like almost the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And I really do owe that to you and Reiki, for introducing me to Reiki, because it's honestly changed my life.
And you've got your own healing business. You're with the love of your life. You got married. It's like absolutely gorgeous watching the transition that you've had, between now and then. And talk to me about, from surviving to thriving, when you came across that group. I mean, we've known each other for a while through Reiki, but what was it that attracted you to that program?
I love everything that you do, Carly, but I remember thinking about this program being like, oh, it's a lot of money. When I had limiting beliefs around money, it's a lot of money, but at the same time, just seeing like examples of what was in this course, I was like, I know that this amount of money is not going to, like, you can't put a price on basically what's in surviving to thriving. And it's just like, yeah, it just drew me in, because you could see that there's potential to just go so deep and uncover so much about yourself that perhaps you didn't even know, perhaps stuff that you've never even thought about. Like a lot of the things in surviving to thriving really made me question and really just look at a different side of myself that perhaps I'd never even knew was there before.
Yeah, awesome. Because like you said, when you first, I suppose, were Googling, right, when from scratch, you didn't know, you knew that you needed help, but you didn't know what you needed help with. And I think a lot of people who might be looking at potentially doing this course are in the same place. They're stuck, they're unhappy. They might not even know why they're unhappy or stuck, but they just know that they're not living their best life, and they really want to take the leap and move forward and find someone to help them with that, even though they don't really know what they need help with. What would you say have been the biggest transformations for you from this course?
I've done a lot of healing around not speaking to my mum, and I think just being able to delve a lot into that, and just finding the limiting beliefs, the things, the tools to be able to help me navigate through the things that I was feeling with that. Like, I needed a lot of forgiveness work, and that's one of the things in the course as well. And that like has just really, really, really helped me.
Awesome. What would you say to someone who is like you were, sitting there going, shit, it's a lot of money, I don't know if I should do this, is it the right thing to be doing? What would you say to someone that's in that same spot that you were?
Honestly, like I mentioned as well, like no amount of money, you can't put a price on what's in that course. Like your expertise, Carly, and the things that you teach, the stuff that's in there, like I say it's a lot of money, but that's because I was in my own limiting beliefs about money. Like, you know, I had my own stuff going on. So when I look at it in hindsight now, years later, after I've done a lot of work on myself, I'm like, that is like peanuts for what is in the course. Like, honestly, like if you're sitting on the fence and you want to start doing work on yourself, you want to start being able to start uncovering stuff and just being able to transform your life, like seriously, I say don't sit on the fence, just jump and dive, because you won't be disappointed. I can promise you that.
Awesome. And the irony is as well that when you're in that space, because I've totally been there as well, so I'm like teetering on the edge of signing up for courses and signing up way later than I wanted to because I let money hold me back. But the irony of it is that when you do this personal development work on yourself, how much more money comes into your life as a result of you being a higher vibration, a happier person, setting up your own business, not working in a job that you hate anymore. Like that stuff is priceless, but it does also increase your bank account, doesn't it? It's pretty crazy how it happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like that's definitely been like, yeah. And yeah, it does. Like there's no, yeah, when you're in that position, it may be hard to invest in yourself, but if you can literally just don't go out for however many months if you have to, or like, you know, don't like, there's so many changes and things that you can do in order to, even if you can only save $10 a week, whatever it is, put it aside and invest that in yourself. Because when you invest in yourself into a program like Carly's, like yours, it's like, yeah, it's the best money you ever spent. I can tell you that.
Thank you. Where do you reckon you'd be now if you hadn't taken that leap?
Oh, it's not something I've actually thought about. Honestly, like still in a job that I hated, probably in really toxic relationships still, and just like hating on myself, like really hating on myself. And, you know, I think that's, yeah, like I probably would have been in a very dark place if I hadn't got help and hadn't come across you when I did.
Yeah, it's not a nice thought to have to reflect in that way, is it?
No, it's not.
Instead, if you haven't. But look at where you are now because you did. You took the leap. And yeah, I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful for you. And I just love watching you shine. And I can't wait to see what else the future has in store for you. So when you think about some of the coaching tools that we've gone through over the years now that we've known each other, years and years and years, since about 2016, I think we probably met. When you think about the coaching tools that we've kind of used together over that period of time, like what would you say about how those things have helped you make a shift in your life?
I think it gives you a different perspective, and it's kind of like you look at it then with, instead of looking at a situation or what's happening in your life right now negatively, you being more grateful and having that coaching and looking at it, you know, as if the glass is like half full or half empty, you know, and it just pushes you. I think it pushes you forwards because it gives you, you're not in the negative, you're in the positive.
What kind of things do you feel like you've been able to clear as a result of coaching tools?
I think I've been able to clear childhood trauma. I've learnt to love myself, which is amazing. Belief in myself. Just being grateful and positive all the time for what I have and where I am, and yeah.
Even when the shit hits the fan.
Even when the shit hits the fan.
Which it does a lot.
I know. It actually is so funny because that's what I did yesterday. Something, I think Molly's mouth brace thing had popped and I was like, I'm so grateful because everything happens for a reason. Like we're in the car and Molly's laughing. But, you know, why get up
and
then?
you're teaching your kids these things, right? Like you're teaching these important things that, wouldn't it be great if we all learned this stuff in school?
Oh, 100% it would. 100%. It just it changes your whole vibration. Yeah.
which then magnetizes everything you want towards you.
It does. It does. Brings in the manifestation and the good, and it's just amazing.
So talk to me about how, like, it was a long time ago now, back in 2016 when I first created this program, and you were one of the first people on it. So talk to me about, I suppose, where you were back in 2016 and some of the tools and the strategies that you learned that have kind of helped progress you towards where you are today.
Okay, so back then, like, it's like a distant memory to me. No, it's not really. It was quite a pivotal time for me. It was, all my shit came up, like it was like a tsunami of emotions from child abuse. All these memories had come up, and I was in a pretty bad way, actually. Like, I remember being on the sofa. Actually, before I got on the call today, I remember there was a memory that popped up of that time, and I was actually at a friend's house, dog sitting and house sitting, and I remember being on the sofa and not wanting to, like, thinking to myself, I don't know how I'm going to live my life. I can't do this anymore. Like, those kind of suicide-ish thoughts coming through, not actually planning it, but just like, I don't know how I'm going to carry on. I can't do this anymore, because of all this stuff from my childhood just come and hit me like a lorry, right? It was just like bang, all these memories started coming up, and I was just in such despair. But then, you know, you helped me through that. Like, we were doing some tapping, and you were guiding me to allow whatever thoughts and stuff that were coming up, like, to move through some of the heavier emotions. And that was the kind of first time I'd ever done anything like that. And I remember the words disgusting come up about myself, and I was
I remember too. Yeah,
and it just shocked me,
and it was so powerful, like the emotion and energy behind feeling that way, and how long you'd held on to that for too as well, and how much it had damaged, like how much damage it had caused in your life up until that point.
Well, that's it. I mean, I'd always been running the programming that I was disgusting, so therefore I lived out, my behaviors were to reinforce that belief, right? So I'd get myself into really horrible situations, especially with men, where I didn't think much of my worth, and I'd give myself to them, like, to the point to really to my detriment. So I'd think bad thoughts about myself, that I wasn't worthy and all this kind of stuff. So it was really kind of liberating for that to come up, but also really fucking scary, because I never thought that I thought myself was disgusting before, because I'd always had this kind of false sense of confidence that I used to project out into the world. Yeah, I'm fine, I'm Tina fucking Erin, do you know what I mean? But yeah, so all that kind of stuff came up. But what I really liked about it is that even though all that stuff came up, I was able to also find a clearing in all that kind of fog, all that mind shit that was coming up, all those emotions and the sickness. I actually felt physically sick with the shame and the disgust and all that kind of stuff. But with the course, it was like it was helping me move through these emotions, but also focus on what I was creating as well, like focus on the good in my life and focus on the appreciation, just the little things of gratitude. Like, when I was feeling that disgust, there was absolutely nothing in this world that I could have actually sat there and said, oh, I'm thankful for, you know what I mean? But it was just like a little nudge. Like, so for once a day, I found just something to be thankful for. Maybe it was just a simple thing like having milk to put in my coffee, or smelling a flower, or having the fresh air on my face. It just helped me be more thankful for the tiny things in life, as well as help me move through to forgiveness as well for myself, before I could forgive my abusers and all that kind of stuff. But learning to look at myself in a different way when I was in shitty situations from my own life choices, learning to forgive myself for that wounded part of myself that made me be in those situations, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And forgiveness, I reckon, is one of the most powerful tools in the course, isn't it? Like, it really is such a simple technique and such a confronting and challenging one, but the energy that you release is just magnificent, isn't it? It's really really crazy how it works.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Ho'oponopono, which is what you taught me, was one of the things, like, if I used to go into shame spirals, like when my mind is so used to thinking negatively of me that when I felt like a little bit good in myself, it would just start hitting me with these memories of things that I should feel ashamed about or embarrassed about. And it'd be like one after the other, tick, 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 tick. And I could feel my vibe and my body just going, oh, and then me trying to escape from that. But I'd feel like I'm going in my cocoon again. I want to hide. I don't want to get up. I don't want it because I'm not worthy of happiness. I'm not worthy of that because I've done all these things, or all these things have happened to me.
How did you used to deal with that shame in the past before you knew all these tools?
Well, I'd get pissed or do drugs, or I'd cause drama. Like those were my go-to. Do you know what I mean? Those are all the numbing techniques that I used to use. Yeah. Drama, drugs, alcohol. That's simple as that. Anything to just get me out of my body and out of, off my head, out of that. And or I used to not drag people through the mud, but I deflect onto someone else. Like there'd be a drama going on, I'd deflect onto them, like they're the villain, they're the one that should be feeling like shit, kind of thing. But with the shame spirals that I started having on my healing journey, I used to use the Ho'oponopono, like the thoughts would come up and I'd be like, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And I'd just say it over and over and over again until like the shame would disappear. And then a new sense of, a deeper sense of love and forgiveness would enter me for myself. And then I just started seeing my life and my situations completely differently. As well as tapping, like just tapping on my hand if like shitty emotions come up as well.
Where do you think you've been now if you hadn't learned this stuff back then, when you were feeling in that sense of despair and feeling disgusting and not even knowing that shit was there? Where would you be right now, do you think? Would you still be here?
No, I'd be dead. I'd either be in a gutter, be in prison, or dead.
Which is just like crazy, isn't it, to think from the space that you're in right now, to think that that's where you were going.
Yeah. I mean, if I didn't have you as a guide there, I would have probably gone back to my old self of drinking and drugging and just getting into shitty situations, because it was like a really pivotal moment for me. Like I said, it was either going down that old route of the drinking and the drugging and the causing mayhem, or going down the route of healing, which was fucking hard at first. I'm not gonna lie. It was just, imagine sitting there going, you're disgusting to yourself, like not knowing, and then all these memories and all that kind of stuff from the shame, and every single memory just bashing, bash that you've been trying to avoid all your life, just hitting you like a movie, like non-stop movie. And it was the stuff that I'd been running away from for so long. So I'm not going to sit here and say it was easy, because it wasn't. But with the guidance that I had from that course and from yourself, I was able to move through it and come out on the other side. And when I got out the other side, I was just like, oh, that wasn't that bad. It was a lot easier than the life that I was living, or I could be living now, because as I said, I'd be in the gutter, dead, or in a fucking prison hospital somewhere.
Yeah.
I would have killed myself, I'm sure.
Yeah. And it's not easy to take the leap to sign up for a course like this, right? Or to take the leap into doing any kind of work on yourself when you're feeling anxious, depressed, suicidal, like you're worthless, useless, like who am I to invest in myself, basically, by doing a course like this? What would you say to anyone that is sitting there listening to your story and going, I'm in that place now, but I'm too scared to do anything about it? What would you say to them?
Well, I would say that everything that you've done up to this point hasn't helped you move out of that pain. So it's time to start try something different. And the fact that it's there in front of your face is a sign for you to do it. Like it's scary, but you can do it in your own time. You don't have to keep up with it. You can go slow. But the rewards are their tools and everything, that your life will change forever by doing this course. And they're tools that will carry you through the rest of your life.
Yeah. What would you say about like, did you enjoy the way that the course was laid out?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd done it in my own time, so it was all very easy to understand, and like, you're very down to earth and to the point anyway, which is, I like someone who's very direct, right? This is what it does. This is what you've got to do, and these are the results that you may or may not get from it. And that's the way I learn. And there was a really good, because I'm a visual kinesthetic kind of learner, so I like to watch and do. So I found it, for me, it was perfect, because you had little videos in there, and then I'll go away and do my little thing, try it on myself, and then just play with it for a little while. And to be honest, I started getting excited about the next one. I was like, what else is going to come through? Especially when it started on the creation thing. Like, just what are you creating? What are you calling in? Like, I think there was a little bit of goal setting or something in there. I can't really remember. And it was just having a different focus, because I'd spent so much of my life focusing on everything that was wrong, but just focusing on something like my future, something that I never thought I had, it was insane to me. I was just like, oh, I get to focus on this. I get to actually plan this little thing, even though some of it was just like focusing what I was doing the next day. It was revolutionary for me. It wasn't, because I was so used to my next day was get up, go to work, get fucked up. Do you know what I mean? That's what my life was. But yeah, so it was just, the way it was set out, it was just easy to use, easy to follow. And it was deep work. Yeah. And the support was there as well. The support network, there was a group and stuff. There was a support network there, so you could fall back on that if you needed support. But yeah.
Awesome. And for anyone that feels like, yeah, they're definitely up for making a change, and maybe they're looking at a couple of different courses, what would you say about why they should work with me?
I would say that because of your, God, like seriously, your wisdom and knowledge, and how you hold your clients through like tricky and sticky kind of mindset and emotional stuff, is second to none. And it kind of set the precedent of how I wanted to be as a coach as well. And the fact that, you know, you've got, not that you've got an answer for everything, but you've got like so much knowledge in this space that you have a million different answers and different ways to a certain thing. Like if something doesn't work for someone, then you would be like, okay, well, maybe you can try this. Do you know what I mean? And you don't try and force people into it. It's just a gentle little nudge, and you hold that space, and you really kind of see them as a human, see them as a lovely soul. Like I've never felt so loved in a container, Carly, until I was in yours. Do you know what I mean? And it's been hard to replicate since. I've not felt held, witnessed and seen as much as I did in your container. So, and I've been pounding these coaching and personal development streets for quite some time now, and worked with many coaches, but no one has held space the way you have. I think that's what I want to say in a nutshell.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. So any last words of wisdom to anyone that's watching, that's considering pulling the trigger on this?
I would say that I know it's hard to take the step. I know that you think, what's the point, and all that kind of stuff, because you may have tried a myriad of things before. But just do it, because you will get something out of it. You will definitely get something out of it, but that will increase your sense of well-being within yourself. Yeah, definitely. Just fucking do it. Just fucking do it.
JFDI, we call that. JFDI.